Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan, and welcome to the latest episode of RCB Radio Sports Show, live at 92.5 and 94.8 FM, and online at www.rcb.ie. I'm delighted today to be joined by a special person in such, a Republic of Ireland international, a Swansea defender. He has played underage for Republic of Ireland under 21 level. He's been capped 4 times by the national team. He made his debut against Bulgaria in the UEFA Nations League. The one and only Ryan Manning. Ryan, first of all, pleasure to talk to you. Swansea City, so far this season under Russell Martin, I suppose it's been all changed since the departure of Steve Cooper. How are you enjoying it so far? I suppose after tough start, you're beginning to move up the table.
Yeah, I think, like you said, there's probably a lot of change, especially it coming, I suppose, during the pre-season, which wasn't ideal for everyone. But, they've come in with, a new philosophy, a new style of football that, everyone in the group, is embracing fully and really enjoying. I think, like you said there, at the beginning, it was all a learning curve. We were kind of learning on the job. But I think now, we're coming out the other end of it and we're beginning to creep up the table. Obviously, we've had a tough kind of run of games the last 3, but the performances are still where we want them to be, and it's just a few little minor details that need adjusting, and hopefully we can start putting ourselves back in the mixer.
And I suppose, Ryan, you've been an ever feature so far for Swansea this season. Are you enjoying this sort of campaign? You seem to establish yourself in the role so far this year, in the left wing back sort of role, bombing up a sort of field. Do you feel that sort of wing back role suits your style of play?
Yeah, like I said, I think that's the first and most important thing for me is to be playing every week. So to kind of establish a place in the side was kind of most important thing for me this season, I suppose. And I've had obviously a bit of a change in playing between the left wing back and the left centre half role, but I'm embracing both positions, and wherever I'm asked to play by the manager, I'm fully committed to that, and will give my best to try and contribute to the team.
And what's the atmosphere like this year, Ryan? I suppose last year you were competing to go up to the Premier League. You were in a promotion race throughout the majority of the season, narrowly lost off in the playoff final to Brentford, who went up. And obviously, Steve Cooper departed. Andrew Ayew, probably one of your most renowned sort of strikers and influential leaders, he departed the scene as such. So I suppose, was there a bit of transition needed in terms of Swansea, and in terms of to try and reinforce the stability there again, given the magnitude of the departures?
Yeah, to an extent, yeah. I think obviously the kind of change in management meant, complete kind of change in style, which, like I said, everyone within the group has fully embraced it. And, for me, it's the best football I've played in my career. It's I'm enjoying my football the most in my career, so it's a style that we all kind of enjoy playing every week, and it's a style that we want to, succeed in. So it's a case of just learning on the job constantly and trying to improve on it to try and get ourselves back into promotion chase or promotion race this season. Obviously, yeah, there's a lot of change, and a lot of change comes a little bit of kind of inconsistency at times. But I think considering the magnitude of the change that we've undergone, I think we're definitely performing well as a group. And like I said earlier, it's just a matter of like the small intricate details just coming together now, and I reckon we can have a good push around this middle of the season.
I suppose you have another fellow Irishman with you this year, a new addition, Michael Obafemi, joined from Southampton. What is it like, Michael, being there, a fellow sort of Irish mate as such? Has he really sort of, you probably known each other for an international sort of team? Would you help him climatise to Swansea and Wales as such, and obviously the squad of players as well?
Yeah, I think probably what's a testament to the group here is it's probably one of the easiest squads to come in and kind of join into. It's such a good group of fellas that there's no real big egos, there's no real big characters that you'd struggle to get along with. Everyone's a nice fella, I suppose. So I don't think Mike has had any trouble with fitting in. He's obviously probably takes a little bit of time to get used to living in Swansea and and a bit of a change from that. But you know, he's adjusting well, and you know, I think he's obviously had a little bit of a tough time with some niggles that probably came at the wrong time from. But no, he'll definitely, once he kind of gets a bit of consistent training, consistent playing time behind him, you know, I can't see him do anything but come good. So you know, I think I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do.
And I suppose, Ryan, in terms of aspirations, you're 16th in the table now. I suppose, is it about sort of pushing forward maybe to try and by January, February to get yourself maybe into the top 10 and then realistically have a real push towards the end of the season to try and make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the goal. I think with the championship, you know, you win 3 or 4 games on the spin and you end up shooting right up the table. So it's one of them leagues where, you know, you can fall down it and climb it just as quickly. So I think the Christmas period now coming up is an important time. But I think, like you said, it's just about putting a run together now so we can get within touching distance of the playoff places and, you know, mount a kind of realistic, you know, charge to try and get there.
And I suppose, Ryan, if I can bring you onto the international scene, Republic of Ireland 2020, you made your debut in UEFA Nations League against Bulgaria. I suppose your aspirations, I suppose for Ireland, it's been a tough time of late. We've missed out on the last 1 or 2 international sorts of tournaments as well. In terms of going forward now, in terms of your own aspirations, is the drive for Ryan Manning to play in an international tournament, whether it be a Euros or a World Cup for Ireland? And as a squad, how much did you feel that sort of bitter disappointment in terms of the playoffs? And obviously with Mick's finished and Stephen took on that game against Slovakia, that didn't go to plan. And then obviously the league that we finished up being a bit off, dare I say, is Serbia and Portugal.
Yeah, obviously I think within the group we're obviously all disappointed with how the playoffs and the World Cup campaign went, but I think it was you know, there was a positive end to that campaign with the results we picked up. And, you know, I think to be fair to the squad, you know, there was a lot of us that came into the squad, got debuts, you know, playing your first, you know, handful of international games. So there's kind of a lot of kind of blood in the youngsters, as they say, you know, this campaign. So I think it's all about, you know, using the Nations League in the summer to, you know, build on the end of the campaign we just had. And I think it's the next Euros coming up after that we need to, you know, mount a kind of realistic charge where, you know, we have to kind of get to that tournament and, you know, put ourselves in a position where, you know, it's a realistic goal for us to get there.
And I suppose, Ryan, in terms of the contrast, I suppose, with Stephen Kenny coming in, how you found Stephen Kenny to work with? In terms of a coach, is he very much a people sort of person? Is he very approachable? Is he there someone that you go into training session that he probably call you aside, maybe give you pointers or advice, or does he leave that to the coaches and maybe sort of delegate his role as such?
Yeah, well, I think you know, Anthony Barry and Keith Andrews, you know, work with Stephen with the Irish job, and you know, they're 2 fantastic coaches. You know, I think Anthony, you know, obviously at Chelsea and working, you know, with world-class players every week. You know, you can see that when he comes in and takes sessions with us. You know, you can see the kind of knowledge that he has, and you know how good he is at getting his points across. And you know, he kind of, him and Keith tend to take the majority of the sessions, and then I think the gaffer kind of gets involved then for, you know, the more match related stuff, you know, when it's to whatever team we're playing up against. You know, we'll take some meetings and you know, take parts of the session that's kind of relative to that. But the kind of day-to-day kind of coaching when we're in camp is Anthony and Keith, and you know, they're 2 fantastic coaches who, you know, you can learn a lot of.
And I suppose, Ryan, you came into the fold in terms of the Irish Republic scene towards the latter end of Mick McCarthy's era in terms of Ireland. And then you obviously saw the transition there with Stephen Kenny as well. Was there at that time, was there a bit of uncertainty with the players not knowing what was going on, not knowing whether Mick was going to finish out the playoff campaign or not? And the idea that a manager could come in for one such big crucial game, was it a bit, for players, was it a bit uneasy at the time?
To be fair to me, I came in after the playoff game, so I didn't really know what was going on in camp before the playoff game.
Okay.
But, you know, I'm sure, you know, it's a professional group and there's a lot of experienced players within the group, so I wouldn't think that, you know, something like that would affect, you know, the majority of that squad. And, you know, I think they were just his focus, whether it was with Mick or Stephen that was in charge. So, you know, I don't think that, you know, was probably a contributing factor to the result. You know, I still think that they were very unlucky, or we were very unlucky in the game where, you know, there's a few chances and then obviously to go out with penalties. You know, it's one of them things. But no, I think, you know, it's a professional group. I think, you know, they'll be able to take things like that in their stride.
And I suppose, Ryan, in terms of Ireland coming into the squad, Seamus Coleman as captain, what was it like meeting Seamus in terms of the Irish campaign? Did he introduce himself straight away? Did he what sort of a leader is he for new players that come into the Irish setup or an Irish squad? Is he very sort of driven? Do you get that sense of leadership from him straight away in terms of the no-nonsense sort of approach?
Yeah, definitely. You know, he's obviously probably had one of the best Premier League careers in the squad, if not the best. You know, he's been at the top with Everton and obviously captain of Everton. You know, you don't get to that level and that, you know, status in the game unless you're, you know, a dedicated pro. And, you know, I think as a captain, he's, you know, a fantastic captain. You know, everyone that comes into the squad, whether you're, you know, a young boy that's just coming in or you're someone that's been brought back in from, you know, missing a few squads, you know, he's the same with everyone. He obviously sets the standards in training and the standards of, you know, how you should act on and off the field. So, you know, I think as a role model goes, he's probably, you know, the pinnacle of you know, what you need to do as a professional.
And Ryan, I'll just bring you back to Swansea just to finish up. Your next game against is Queen's Park Rangers, a team that's flying under Mark Warburton in the championship this year, very much in the sort of promotion hunt. I suppose in terms of the run of form of late, I suppose you will go probably, it's fair to say you'll probably go into that game as sort of underdogs as such. But is that a sort of challenge you relish going up against probably one of the most informed teams in the championship?
Yeah, I think I suppose a lot of the informed teams that we played this season, you know, we've not really changed for anyone. We don't change for anyone. You know, whether you're top of the table or bottom of the table, we still implement our style of play, our, you know, philosophy on them. And you know, most games tend to turn out where we dominate the football, where, you know, teams are kind of adjusting to us and sitting back in and, you know, hoping to beat us on the counter attack. So I can't see it, you know, being any different at the weekend. But, you know, for me, obviously going back to QPR for the first time with the fans and everything in the stadium, you know, I'm looking forward to, you know, the atmosphere over it. And, you know, but at the end of the day, it's just another game, and we need to, you know, look at ourselves and try and put our form right and kind of mount a little, you know, winning streak going, or, you know, some positive results.
And Ryan, sort of final two questions to finish up. What are Ryan Manning's goals and aspirations in terms of professional football in 2022?
Just to play as much football as I can, you know, obviously my club level to, you know, mount a promotion challenge and obviously try to get promoted to the Premier League. That's, you know, the ultimate goal for me with club level, and then international level that just follows on from your club level. You know, as long as you're doing well at your club, you put yourself in the mixer for international. And, you know, if there's opportunities to play some games and get in there, you know, hopefully I can take them and, you know, mount a challenge for them positions.
And finally, for me, Ryan, I suppose the west of Ireland is where you come from in terms of COVID and everything going on at the moment. Will you get a chance to come back home for Christmas and the New Year with your family and see your parents and sort of loved ones, or is it a hectic schedule? Will it mean that it'll be just Zoom and web calls and phone calls, or do you think you might get a chance to get back into the west of Ireland over the Christmas time?
No, I don't think I'll be able to get back, you know, this Christmas. You know, obviously the fixtures around this time of the year, you know, you're playing St. Stephen's Day and you have a game then between then and New Year's. So, you know, it's a hectic time. But, you know, my family got over there a few weeks ago before the kind of new restrictions came in. So that was kind of probably, you know, a bit of Christmas. But, you know, hopefully in the new year, things lighten up again. You know, you can get my family over to see them, or I might even get home. But, you know, yeah, for the Christmas, it's going to be probably just FaceTimes and stuff like that for the Christmas.
Ryan, best of luck with Swansea in the upcoming campaign in terms of your bid to make the Premier League and push on towards the playoffs places. And no doubt we'll see you in an Irish jersey again sometime in the near future. Ryan Manning, cheers, take care.
Cheers.